Welcome back to West Explains Best. Today we're going to be talking about the area of composite shapes. This is a Khan Academy exercise, so let's go ahead and get started. So here we have an area of a purple compound shape, and it's asked us to find the area. So there's two different approaches here. The first is you could segment this. Whoops, sorry, I didn't mean to make that line. You could segment this into two shapes, one being a triangle, and one being, it looks like a rectangle, but I think it's a square. So once we do this, the trick is understanding that if these are right angles, then that means these are parallel lines. And if those are parallel, that means this cutoff right here makes that also 2 because this side is 2. With that being 2, this overhang, this area right here, needs to be 2. So then we could find the area of the square equals side squared equals 2 squared. And then we could add that to the area of the triangle, this triangle, and it has the area of the triangle. The area of the triangle is 1/2 base times height, or 1/2 2 times 2, which is just 2. So we have 4 plus 2 gives us 6. Now, there's an easier way to do it. That's a compound shape, so I just kind of broke it down. But you could recognize that this is a trapezoid. It only has one parallel side, and that's the definition of a trapezoid, or two opposite pairs. One set of parallel sides is what I'm trying to say. So what we have is we can use the formula for a trapezoid. Area of a trapezoid equals 1/2 base 1 plus base 2. It doesn't matter which one you call base 1 or base 2, as long as you add them together, times the height. Well, we know the height is 2, and the height always needs to be perpendicular. That's very important. And then one of the bases is 4, the other is 2, and then we can apply our formula, see if we get the same thing. So 1/2, 4 plus 2 is 6. Let me write it out just to make sure you guys get it. So we have 4 plus 2 times the height, which is 2. So then we have 1/2 of times 6 times 2. That's 12, or 6. So see how we got the same thing, 6 units squared, whether we treated it as a trapezoid or a compound shape. So moving on to the next question, you'll see that we have another trapezoid, also composed of triangles and a square. So I'm going to treat this like a trapezoid and go straight into the trapezoid formula. Area equals 1/2 base 1 plus base 2 times the height. So the trick to this is understanding what the total length of the bases are. So we're only given that this is 2 and this is 4. So we have a missing distance here. And since this is perpendicular and these must be parallel, that means this little distance also must be 2. So now we do 2 plus 2, 2 plus 2 plus 4 gives us 8 for that base. We have 2 for the other base, and then the height is this distance right here, and we already know that's 2. So we have all the information we need, so let's go ahead and get started. 8 plus 2 times 1/2 times our height, 2. As I simplify this, area equals 1/2 times 10 times 2 equals 10. So the area equals 10 square units. Now if you split this up into compound shape with 2 triangles and a square, you would get the same thing. All right, we'll do one more. This time is not a trapezoid, so we really do need to break it down into compound shapes here. So here we have, I'm just going to go ahead and segment this into a big triangle that I see. Now there's different ways to split this up. I'm just going to go what I see initially. And then we have, let's go with this green small triangle. Okay, but we notice that we have parallel sides, so we can treat this as one big green trapezoid. So we're going to treat this as a trapezoid and one big triangle. Okay, now we need to figure out some distance because we only know that this is 2. That's fine, blue's fine. This is 6, so we're missing this distance right here, but since this is parallel and perpendicular, perpendicular, therefore parallel, we know that this distance is 2. So we have the big triangle. If we were to, whoops, it's the wrong color. If we were to redraw this, we would have the bottom length be 2 plus 2 plus 6, which is 10, 4, Okay, so we have the area of the triangle equals 1/2 the base times the height. Since this is perpendicular, we know the height is 4. So we have 1/2 times the base, 10 times 4. And we get 20 units squared for our triangle. We're not done. We still have to add the total area of the trapezoid. Area of the trapezoid is going to be equal to 1/2 base 1 plus base 2 times the height. Now we already know all these pieces of information. The base is shared with that big triangle. So we know that the base is 10, so 1/2 times 10 plus the base 2, which is 2, times the height, which is 2. So we have 1/2 times 12 times 2. 1/2 times 12 is 6, times 2 is 12. So 12 units squared is going to be our answer for the trapezoid. And we need to add the two. Once we add 20 from the triangle plus 12 from the trapezoid, we get 32 units squared. 32. Okay, that's all I got for today for area of composite shapes. I'll see you next time on Wes Explains Best.